Welcome back to Kaijumania. This week we're going to do a very exciting film. Pacific Rim Uprising. Just show the trailer. So we start our film. It's John Boyega. It's 10 years after the war. He's somehow the son of Idris Elba. Never been mentioned before, but you know, whatever. And he's a hustler and he steals tech. He's trying to steal Jaeger tech. He bumps into a little girl, and guess what? This little girl can build her own Jaegers, because why the fuck not? So she's built her own Jaeger. It's called Scrapper, apparently. This is a smaller Jaeger. It's yay big as opposed to yay big. And the police are like, no, you can't build your own Jaeger. Don't do it. They'll arrest you. And we get our first fight, kind of. So it's Scrapper, the little girl Jaeger, versus a big Jaeger called something Ajax or something like that. And basically, little Scrapper gives Ajax the run around, does a few tricks, tries to shock it with a bit of electricity, stalls it for a second, and then boom, runs into the foot of Ajax. And he's like, hey, put your hands up. It's like, alright, I'll put my hands up. And then the little girl and John Boyega are chucked in jail. It's here that we learn that Mako from the first film has somehow been dragged into this film, and she's like, oh yeah, I forgot, when Idris Elba adopted me, I also had a little brother who I've never mentioned before. You got kicked out of the army, let's not talk about it. You're now my little brother, I want you to re-enlist in the army, because you never finished being a cadet, but that'll make you good enough to now train the next lot of the army, or whatever. Makes no real sense. And then we kind of go to this army base. Boyega's there. He's now, you know, a commanding officer because his dad was one or something. So yeah, he's a commanding officer now. We never actually meet anyone of higher authority than him, I don't think, in this film. So John Boyega, and he's got Scott Eastwood there. It's like, yeah, right, we're running the new recruits of the Jaeger world to stop the threat. How many cadets have we got in this entire world? We've got about 8 of them. Little girl, she's shoved into it, and there's another girl already in the cadets. So instantly, you can't have 2 girls in the same film. So obviously they hate each other, and they have a little fight later on. We learn that the big new plan for the future of the Pacific Rim world is that China want to just make the Jaegers drones instead, so that people don't have to drive them, because apparently it's hard to train people to drive a Jaeger, so why not make them drones? And people are quite against this idea because you can't teach a drone to do a pilot's job or something along them lines. And they're going to go and have a big discussion about it, and they think, well, we need protection because there's protests against kaijus, or there's some kind of protest going on, doesn't really explain it, but there's protests. People are not happy about something in Australia. So there's the new Gypsy Avenger. He's replacing Gypsy Danger. Obviously that has a special place in John Boyega's heart because his dad knew the pilot of Gypsy Danger, and his dad was actually a pilot in another Jaeger. But John Boyega's not connected to his dad's Jaeger, but his dad's mate's Jaeger, because Gypsy was the main Jaeger in the first film, so it's got to be that one. Can't be his dad's. So whatever. Anyway, there's a rogue Jaeger now. The giant one comes out the scene, like, whoa, who's this? We can't talk to it. Right, so we're going to have our first title fight. I guess it's a vacant title. I don't know what happened to Gypsy Danger. We're just presuming it was scrapped because it's an older model. So we've got a vacant title on the line. Gypsy Avenger versus the Rogue Jaeger. Here we go, the Rogue Jaeger showing off some skills. He's got this big chest laser thing. Then Gypsy Avenger's like, no, I've got a sword. And then the Rogue's like, well, I'll trump you. I've got 2 swords. And there's a bit of sword fighting go on. And then Gypsy Avenger has this secret weapon where it's got a magnet ball, because basically it just, as a giant magnet, picks up cars off the street, doesn't care if civilians are in it, just picks up buildings and crap, puts them in a ball so you can smash it at the other Jaeger. So when they built this, it was like, yeah, we need a giant magnet. We don't care if there's anyone in any near buildings or anyone near cars, nothing like that. Just get everything and throw it. Yeah, great plan. And it knocks over the Rogue temporarily. And as this is going on, Mako's in a helicopter, and the helicopter's crashing. They try and save her, and he's like, oh no, Mako's been written out of the film, I can't save her. Oh no. And yeah, Mako's dead. Boo-hoo. To be honest, she's probably glad that she's out of this film. She probably crashed the helicopter on purpose. Whilst the helicopter was crashing and all that business, the rogue Jaeger walks into the sea, got himself counted out, so he's counted out. So really, we can't give the title to Gypsy Avenger because he didn't win the match. It was a vacant title, it was a count out. Nobody wins, we'll have to schedule it for a rematch at the next pay-per-view. Luckily, the next pay-per-view takes place very soon, as we need to go to Siberia because the story told us we need to go to Siberia, and Gypsy Avenger is there. He's like, oh, I'm in Siberia, what's happening? But the Rogue Jaeger is also in Siberia for reasons. And basically they start another fight, so we get you straight out with the swords this time, no messing around. So a bit of sword fighting going on, then missiles are being shot, Gypsy Avenger looks in danger on the ice of Siberia. Gypsy Avenger purposely goes underneath the ice, shoots some missiles on top to break the ice where the Rogue Jaeger is, so they're both underwater. They have a bit of an underwater scrap, they get back on land, a bit of scrap continues, a bit of a Lufez Prez I think happens, and basically they both stand up, and then Gypsy Avenger presses the command for Kano's fatality, does the heart rip, all that jazz, and Gypsy Avenger wins. Gypsy Avenger is your new champion. But who is this Rogue Jaeger? So we rip the mask off to find out it's a Kaiju's brain. So someone's put Kaiju brains inside Jaegers. Who's that? Well, it turns out it's going to be none other than Mr. Charlie there. He's back, they dragged him into it, poor Charlie. He's in this film and he's the villain because they couldn't really think of anything else for him to do, so they're like, yeah, he's a villain because he drifted with a Kaiju. Now he's in love with Kaijus, and Kaijus are taking over his mind. So once it's revealed Charlie there's the villain, he presses buttons on his keyboard, and basically the drones that are being built are now they're going to turn into Kaijus, and they kind of end up basically the normal drones, and then bits of Kaiju stick out of them. They have like little Kaiju mandibles and stuff, and basically they look like the elites from Halo. We've now got two Kaiju elites. They're destroying all of the base where the Jaegers are, beating up Jaegers, beating up people, destroying stuff. Charlie there sends a load of other drones, elite drones, to go to where the rift was, and they all blast lasers at the rift to open up the rift to let some Kaiju free. So one giant Kaiju, he doesn't make it because they end up closing the rift just in time for it to not stay permanently open, but 3 Kaijus did get out of the rift, and they're going to go to Mount Fuji. But who's going to stop these Kaijus in Mount Fuji? Because the base was destroyed. Who's left? Oh, it's the 6 cadets that the film was training. They're the only ones left. None of the elite soldiers made it. All the other soldiers did. None of them were good enough. Only these cadets, only these 6 kids that were being trained by John Boyega, who never finished his training, only him and his kids can make it in this film because they're the only true pilots of the world. Basically they get the Jaegers that were left, which is the only Jaegers we've seen in the film, so it's not like the new Jaegers. And of course they're all brilliant and they're all going to go to Japan. And we go to Japan, and I will stop because we get 30 seconds maybe of actual pretty good footage, like actual pretty good Kaijus just trampling through Tokyo, and you know what, I'm like, this is actually pretty good, just this little clip. So for a 2-hour film to have a 30 seconds of fun so far, I was quite impressed. It was the best 30 seconds to this point. The Kaijus just making their way to Mount Fuji, and our robots arrive. How did they get there? Some bullshit about, oh well, we'll tie a rocket to you or something and we'll fly you to Japan. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. The Jaegers get there, and it's our big main event. It's a 4-on-3 Survivor Series style. So 4 Jaegers, 3 Kaijus, big battle ensues. We've got a big Kung Fu Jaeger who does kicks and stuff. We've got one who's got like a yo-yo chain ball, like the little girl, like the girl from Kill Bill. He's got all that business going on. We've got Gypsy Avenger, who's like your standard. He's like your Mario. His stats are, you know, even across the board. He's the best kind of overall, but he's not the specialist. And then there's another Jaeger. Can't even remember what that one does. Can't even remember what it looks like. Is it big? Who knows? But there's another Jaeger involved. And the Jaegers seem to be getting the upper hand on the kaiju. And Charlie there's like, I'm not having this, not having this. I'm going to press more buttons. Oh, I'm in Tokyo now, by the way. I was wherever I was, and now I'm just in Tokyo. It doesn't matter how I got here. It doesn't matter, I'm just here in Tokyo. I'm going to press more buttons, and I'm going to send an army of little nanobot thingamajigs. They're going to jump on all the kaijus and stitch them together to make a mega kaiju. So basically, Charlie there turns into Rita Repulsa, throws down his staff and says, make my monster grow, and mega kaiju comes alive, and he's a lot bigger than all the Jaegers, and the Jaeger's like, oh no, what are we gonna do? So one of the Jaegers goes at him, and basically the kaiju just destroys him in one, tears him apart. There's another one, Kung Fu one, he starts doing some Van Damme stuff, and he kind of tail whips him off into the moon, so that's 2 Jaegers down already. So the third kaiju comes, and he gets absolutely crushed and destroyed. But the little girl, she was in that one, so she's ejected just in time to get out of there. And then Gypsy Avenger is then fighting the kaiju, and the kaiju damages him, and oh no, John Boyega's co-pilot, Scott Eastwood, he's injured. Oh no, what we're going to do? Is John Boyega going to pilot on his own? Oh no, the little girl, yes. She will be the saviour, she will help, because she's built her own Jaeger, and she's amazing, she's the best in the world. So she's going to jump in and help pilot Gypsy Avenger. And then they've decided there's not enough power left in the machine, so what we need to do while the kaijus are walking off up Mount Fuji is we need to do a big Macho Man elbow drop onto it, but there's some vague reasons why there's not enough power to get Gypsy Avenger in the air. So we need help, and who can help us? The little girl's already in the ship. Well, it's the little girl's robot Jaeger, of course. He gives this boost to Gypsy Avenger, so Gypsy Avenger can jump to the moon and go off the top rope for a big diving elbow. But as they're coming in too hot and they're basically going to die, so they need to eject out before we hit the kaiju with the elbow drop, because otherwise they'll die as well. But the eject button's not working. Oh no, what's going to happen now? It's okay, because the little scrapper Jaeger kaiju that little girl built, he's there to save the day, yet again of course, because why wouldn't he be? So he basically rips them out, saves them, and jumps down the hill as Gypsy Avenger lands the big elbow on the mega kaiju, and the mega kaiju dies. Gypsy Avenger's dead, but Scrapper and the little girl and John Boyega, they're all alive. John Boyega and the little girl then have a snowball fight, and you're like, yay, or something. And then we cut to a post-credit teaser, where it's like, oh, well, we're going to take the fight to the kaiju this time. I mean, thank God a sequel wasn't made for this, and all it, you know, never mind all that, all your Jaegers have been destroyed. You've got nothing left. You're gonna, what, send your little drones that are all kaijus or whatever? There's nothing left, there's no, so you're gonna have to build Jaegers from scrap to go after them, and just thank fuck we'll never get a sequel. There's some kind of Netflix anime, I'm not even bothering, I don't want to watch it, I'm done. I'm actually done. It's so annoying because the first film was so good, so to just shit over everything it had done, it makes me never want to see anything Pacific Rim sequel again. I don't care if they make another one. It's like, I just don't want to see nothing. Die, franchise, die. I don't want you in Godzilla vs Kong. I don't want you anywhere near this. I don't want your stinky fingerprints mucking up Godzilla and Kong. So, thank God it's dead. Stay away from this film. It's just, I don't even know what it is. It's a bit boring. The story's naff. It's just very, I don't know what happened. I don't know how you can make such a bad sequel, but they managed it. They really managed it. They really just fucked this one up. So, big thumbs down, 2 thumbs down, avoid this film, join us on Friday. We'll have 5 fun time facts, and well, next week's October. It's the month of Halloween, so I'm looking at doing something for October. Not too sure yet. A bit late deciding really, because this is probably something I should have decided a bit ago. But I'm doing a bit off the cuff and thinking, yeah, let's do something Halloween. Let's just get away from all this. So next week, Halloween month. Yay!